Could Theo fix the Mets? Should Theo fix the Mets? Could Theo be wooed to fix the Mets?
Yeah, I think Theo would be able to fix the Mets. I'm just not sure whether or not he's going to want to do that. There's been a lot of talk around baseball, whether or not he could be someone who could be the commissioner of baseball one day. That's been a conversation that's circled a lot of front offices. But this, I think, speaks to a larger issue with the Mets, and I think this extends beyond the Cohen ownership tenure, about the cultural toxicity that has existed within the Mets organization. All the stories over the course of the last couple of years that have stemmed from that organization, from top down in the front office, with all the sexual harassment stories, and now with what's happened with Zach Scott. There's been all these kind of dramatic stories that have happened and come out of this Mets organization, and this stems to just a larger cultural issue that Steve Cohen needs to address through changing the culture there, and making sure that people feel comfortable working there.
Zach Thomas was the acting GM, right? Because of the previous GM, his sexual harassment. And Bob Ryan, I ask you now, could it be Theo Epstein that could turn this franchise around?
Well, I know there's a few other good people out there, such as David Stearns, but the fact is that he is the leading at-large free agent executive out there. So if you're looking for the number one guy, you would go after Theo Epstein. If I were Theo, I'd be thinking twice about it, because he's on his way, everyone says, to the Hall of Fame, based on what he's done in Boston and Chicago. You wouldn't want to mess anything up if things just don't go wrong or go right if he were to go anywhere else, whether it's New York or wherever. One other thing, he is, though, on record as saying that if he were to come back, he'd like a slice of ownership. And, of course, Steve Cohen's a 100% guy. They'd have to work that out.
Interesting. Ramona, I'll bring you in here, okay? Jared Porter was the GM when this year started, and he's out because of sexual harassment issues. You bring in an acting GM. Sandy Alderson, the president, made the decision on both Porter and then the acting GM, Zach Thomas. This is drunk driving. This has nothing to do with thumbs up or thumbs down.
Yeah.
But what are we talking about with this Mets franchise?
Well, look, I guess Steve Cohen will probably tell us on his Twitter feed, which is part of the problem. I mean, I don't want to hear from the owner on his Twitter feed every day. And some of this, we shouldn't even be talking about ownership. The best organizations, you don't even know who the owners are. You don't hear from them. You're talking about the players and the people on the field, and the owners set up a culture where the players in the field can shine. I think what I've seen from the Mets so far is like the people running this organization just can't get out of their own way. They become the story all the time. So Steve Cohen, it needs to start from him and on down. And so you can talk about Theo, or you can talk about whoever, throw out another name of some executive who could come in and help fix them. My understanding is Theo is very happily retired. He's very happily retired right now and taking a break or sabbatical, or what do you want to call what he's on right now. I would not come. I wouldn't touch this. No way.
Justin Tinsley?
Look, I'm not going to even lie, man. The Mets need a clean sweep. There's not just a lot of bad energy there. There's a lot of bad actions there. And if I'm a Mets fan, I'm standing outside this window with a sign saying, baby, baby, please, like, come save me. Like, Theo Epstein, his track record is proven, man. But the real question is this: what does Theo really get out of this by saving the Mets, especially, as Bob alluded to, if he doesn't get ownership in this? Now, with competitive people, there's always that itch. There's always that itch that says, I think I can do this again. So with Theo Epstein, it's all about how serious that itch is.
Did the impossible with Boston, did the impossible with Chicago, and then that would be the Mets. Do the impossible. Joon, the last word here.
Yeah, I think this is true across sports, but ownership is often reflective of kind of the culture that permeates an entire team's organization, from the front office down to the clubhouse. And so Steve Cohen is ultimately responsible here in making sure that the Mets are able to move past a lot of these bad things that have happened over the course of the last 3 years, and just the general reputation of toxicity that has existed within the Mets front office.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.